Hi, my name is Shelby from Be Kind Woodworking, and what we're going to be doing today is learning how to put a silicone sealant around our kitchen sink and also how to make it look really nice as you do it. It's super simple. You're only going to need a handful of things. I'll show you how to do that today. I decided to start doing these little tutorials in video format because just like for a lot of people this year, my plans got derailed a little bit at the beginning of 2020 due to COVID-19. I was hosting classes free in the community for people to attend. And then of course you can't have gatherings anymore. And so once I had to stop that, it took me a while to figure out what I should be doing in order to still reach people. Honestly, I'm very uncomfortable filming videos. I don't enjoy filming myself at all right now, but I really wanted to continue doing this. And so I have a list of projects that I was going to use as my upcoming classes. And instead, I'm going to be doing those from my home, filming them, and that way if you're interested you can still learn how to do these things. Hopefully someday soon we'll be able to start doing classes again, but in the meantime I think this is a pretty decent alternative. Hopefully I will get the hang of it pretty soon. Let's get started. I have in front of me things that we are going to need for this project. There's only 4 things that I have in front of me, which is awesome because I personally love doing projects and teaching people how to do projects that have very minimal material required. Things we're going to need for this project are silicone. I'm going to be using clear. The reason why it just makes more I'm looking at my sink behind me. It makes sense with the type of sink that I have and the type of countertop that I have to do clear. Typically people use clear silicones more in the kitchen, and then you can use a white silicone or something like that if you have maybe a white porcelain sink in your bathroom or something. But since we're doing a kitchen sink today, I'm going to be using clear silicone. When you're looking for silicones, you want to make sure that it's the proper silicone for the job that you're doing. So look for something, if you're doing what I'm going to be doing, which is my kitchen sink, they'll say kitchen and bath on them. So you just want to make sure that you're using the proper silicone for the right job. So look for something that says that. I also have a little utility knife with me. This is going to be used just to cut the tip of our silicone. And then I also have painter's tape. I would recommend using painter's tape for this or masking tape. You can also use masking tape.
Voiceover Shelby here. What I meant to say was mastic tape, not masking tape.
But for me, this is preferable. And I have a little caulking gun. I prefer the plastic ones because I find that the metal ones are just harder on the wrist. So I prefer the really nice, light, little plastic ones. So those are the 4 things that we have to do this job today. First thing to note, we are going to cut open the tip of our silicone tube. And if you look really closely at the tip of your tube, most of the time they have little measurements. And so mine says 1/8, 3/16, 1/4, and 5/16. And what that means is that if you cut the tube open at those lines, that's how thick of a line you're going to be getting as you squeeze out the tube. Now, I personally really like to cut it at the top because then I have the most precise application. So we want to keep it really small as we're cutting it. So now we're going to use our little utility knife here. Most of the time, what I would recommend when you're using a utility knife is you never push the blade out further than is required for the job. So if you're just opening a box or something, just use your first little bit of your blade. Now, when I'm opening any type of tube, whether it's silicone or a different type of caulking, I actually put my blade all the way up because it's a lot easier to cut it that way. I don't normally recommend this, but in this circumstance, when we're opening a tube, this is how I would use my blade. Now, what I say with that is that you push the blade all the way up, you cut the top of your tube, and then you put it away, and you won't be needing this again. Disclaimer, whenever you're using any type of knife, always pay attention to the direction in which you're cutting. Never be trying to cut the tube towards yourself. You never want to do that. Always cut away from yourself, and just be incredibly careful when you're using a utility knife in any circumstance. So just be careful with that. So now we have our silicone tube, we have our utility knife, and I'm going to cut the tip of it to open. Pushing my blade all the way out. Okay, and I'm gonna take just the tip of it. Now, I hope you can see this. It's probably not gonna focus. That's okay. So I just cut it right on the line that says 1/8. So I cut it at the very top, and I cut it at an angle. Can you see that? I think so. So I cut it at an angle, and now I make a secondary cut, and I cut about halfway through my angle. So I have that, and now I'm going to cut this just like that. And now, there. I hope you can see, I kind of blunted the end halfway up. So I have a little diagonal cut, and then it's been blunted. The reason why is that gives us a really nice bead as we're going along. Our little silicone tube is all cut. And silicone, you'll find it will have a seal at the bottom that you need to pierce open. And most of the time, caulking guns will come with a piercer on it. So I located mine. With the gun that I have, it's on the side here. Most of the time, you'll find them somewhere around your little trigger. So I have this, looks like that. Now I'll use it to, you put it in the hole that you just made. You put it in there. And I always give it a few stabs just to make the hole a little bit bigger inside. And that's it. Now, your silicone is prepped. And when you have a caulking gun, it goes in bottom first, and then you put it in there, and then you put in, this is called your plunger. You push in your plunger. And mine, I have to twist this up in order for it to actually make the plunger work. And we're going to push upwards until we start seeing something here. There it is. Okay, so now our silicone is all prepped, and to take the pressure off. So if you pull the trigger and silicone starts coming out of the top, either on your caulking gun, you're going to have a button to push on the end here to take the pressure off, or in my case, with the type of caulking gun that I have, I put the plunger back down, and then that relieves the pressure off of it. So now that this is all prepped, we are going to have to prep the sink, which is super easy to do, and that's where our tape comes into play. Also, we're completely done with the utility knife. The only thing we needed it for was to open up our tube of silicone. Oh, and also make sure that your sink is really nice and clean. I really scrubbed all of the edges because any of the grime, or if you have like food in there from washing dishes or anything, all of that stuff is going to get locked in there once you silicone it. So yeah, that's a part of the prep. Make sure that the surface is clean and dry, and then you can start using your tape.
What you're seeing me do here is putting our tape on the countertop and then putting our tape on our sink and making sure that the edges of the tape are very seamless. Now the gap between our two pieces of tape all the way around the sink is the area that's going to be receiving our silicone and creating a beautiful waterproof sealant around the sink.
Okay, so now, after all that taping, this is what we're looking at here. There's the back of the sink. There we go. Okay, so the reason why I did this was because we are now going to silicone along here. And then as soon as we're done siliconing and smoothing out, we are going to then take all of our tape off and leave that edge. And so really, this part of the tape, anything can happen to it, it doesn't matter. The only part of the taping that matters is what it looks like along here, because that's what your edge is going to look like once you take the tape off. And that's what matters about this whole thing.
Here I am applying the silicone. What's really nice when you use the tape is that you can actually be quite messy in your application because you have so much space all over your tape to kind of make a mess, to be honest, which is very nice. Now you can see me smoothing over all the edges of the silicone with my finger. Actually, while I was doing this, somebody was ringing my doorbell and it distracted me quite a bit. And it took me a little bit too long to take off the tape, so my silicone started drying, so I had a little bit of difficulty, but it ended up working out.
Okay, so removed the tape, and this is our finished product. Nice thin bead, and you can always look at the bottle of your silicone and see how long it is supposed to take to cure. And that's it. That's all that there is to it, to silicone your kitchen sink. This is Winston. He's the baby of the family. And so yeah, you just tape, silicone, pull back the tape really quick. What you want down? Pull back the tape really quick and smooth out any edges that may have like popped up or anything like that. There's cat hair everywhere. And that's all that there is to it, really. A lot of people would argue that you don't even need to tape anything, and that's absolutely true. I just find that silicone is difficult to work with because it's so sticky, so I prefer to use the tape. So I hope this was helpful for somebody out there who was needing to do this, just like I did, because my sink has been like that for 2 years now, and I've been intending on doing that. And it takes 15 minutes, including finding all of the tools. I plan to be doing more of these and having them coming out on some sort of a schedule. Honestly, I haven't even tried editing yet, so I actually have no idea how this video is gonna go. But yeah, like I said, I hope this is helpful for somebody out there. And have a great day. Bye. Okay, so basically I'm going to take the silicone. No, this is tape. I'm gonna take the tape. This will take probably 10 minutes, depending on how finicky you are. Do you like my hands? Does this help if I do this? Okay, I'm stopping. Oh, leaving me already. Fine. Yep. This is my life. Winston. Winston! He's the baby. Bye.